starting to appear though, but it was still very wet offline, as Felipe Massa found out.
We're on the exit of turn 7, and he gets out onto the water, and of course on the slick tyres he's just aquaplaned.
Yeah.
And that was him trying to get past
Nick
it.
Heifeld also found this out when he went wide and touched the back of a Sauber, I think it was, and his front wing failed after the contact.
The damp patch is offline, David.
Yeah, getting offline, as we've seen from Felipe Massa.
Look, he's going to touch him.
Tonkat, he's broken his front wing. It's like none of these guys know where their front wing is.
Oh,
right.
There's a surprise.
Thankfully, one of the areas.
Jenson Button had been quietly fighting his way through the field, and before long was back up to 4th place in the closing stages of the Grand Prix. He was right behind Mark Webber in 3rd and Michael Schumacher in 2nd. He pulled off a great move to overtake Mark Webber, shortly followed by Michael Schumacher's 2nd place, and he was ready to chase down race leader Sebastian Vettel after coming from last place.
Punchy by the looks of it. If he's within 1 second as he exits this corner across that line now, he gets the advantage of the rear wing, and it will pop open when they go over this next line, and surely he's got a great chance of coasting past what Schumacher's looking in his mirror. Button goes the long way round. Is he ahead of him? Yes, he is. Button up into 2nd place.
This race is not over for the win, and it's certainly not over.
It was the final lap, and Jenson Button was closing down Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel had led from lap 1 up until the last lap. However, it was still very wet offline, like I said. Sebastian Vettel dipped a wheel on the wet track and ran wide, gifting 1st place to Jenson Button on the final lap. Jenson Button came through and took the victory, fighting from last twice to win the Grand Prix, one of his best victories of his career. Not to mention 6 pit stops in a 4-hour long race, the longest race in history.
For the victory, has Vettel got what it takes to hold him off?
I think Vettel's got wide.
Yeah,
he's got wide.
He turned in too late. He got the tyres. Button leads the Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel turned in with his tyres just touching the water. It's the final lap of the Grand Prix, and Jenson Button, after an awful afternoon with so many things going wrong for him, leads this amazing Canadian Grand Prix. Jenson Button into the pit straight. He wins a brilliant race. It's a sensational drive for Button. What a victory. And Vettel limps home in 2nd place.
As much as this race was a nightmare to watch because of how stop-start it was and that massive red flag in the middle, it was a fantastic race with action throughout the entire Grand Prix. Lots of overtaking, lots of fortune reversals, and Jenson Button came through to take a very unexpected victory after Sebastian Vettel threw it all away on the final lap.
Surely one of the finest races of his life and the best Grand Prix of his spectacular career. A well-earned drink of the winner's champagne.
So without a doubt, Brazil 2008 makes it into my top 3. It's the best race I've ever seen, and it surely is one of the best races of all time. The championship decider between Felipe Massa and Lewis Hamilton. Just before the start of the race, rain came, and the team's strategies were thrown out the window, and they had to adapt. Hamilton needed 5th place to guarantee the title, even if Felipe Massa won. Massa was on pole, and Hamilton was in 4th position on the grid.
2008 Formula 1 World Championship will be decided here, right now. Massa on the left, Trulli on the right. Look out for Hamilton on the pit wall side. It's a cautious getaway from Hamilton. He's running down. Raikkonen is in front of him, and you can see that Alonso has not been able to make ground on him. Vettel isn't going to take any chances. Kovalainen nursemates his teammate through and then shuts the door on Vettel, and Hamilton is safely through turn 1. Massa is away and clear, and we've got an accident in the back, and no, it's not David Coulthard, is it? Surely safety.
Shortly after the start of the race, Felipe Massa began to pull away, and on lap 10 made his first pit stop, pitting for dry tyres. Everyone else stopped the lap later.
Race leader Felipe Massa, one of the 2 title contenders, to go onto the dry tyre. He needs to win this race. He has to win this race. But Trulli, Raikkonen and Hamilton have gone through to do another lap. Into the pits then come the remaining leading trio, Trulli, Raikkonen and Hamilton.
Some front wing adjustment ready for the dry tyres, and away he goes.
During the pit stops, Hamilton lost out and he dropped to 7th. With Massa still in the lead, this wasn't enough for the title. He needed to pick up places. And this is exactly what he did. He picked off a couple of positions and got himself back into the top 5.
Up a very, very good slipstream this time, and he's going to have to get right alongside him, just hold him out. Look, because it's so slippery off the racing line, he's got to be sure that he can slow it down when he gets there, and he can just. Now he's got wet tyres, now he's got to be careful in turn 2 and turn 3, and now I think he's got the job done.
Massa pitted for the second time on lap 17, and Hamilton pitted for the second time on lap 40. The two were on very different strategies.
We are ready for Felipe Massa. Into the pit lane he comes. He has a 7-second lead at this stage of the game over second place man Fernando Alonso. 21 seconds over Lewis Hamilton. He will be able to pit and rejoin in front of Hamilton.
So Hamilton in the pit lane.
Oh, it's a little bit slow getting the nozzle away. He's going to have to stop again. That's not fueling him to the finish.
And look at this Toyota coming through there, and that's worked out quite well, I believe, for Lewis Hamilton, and put him back out into clear.
Sebastian Vettel was set to play a very key role in this race. On lap 51, he made his pit stop and rejoined just behind Hamilton in 6th place. Hamilton in 5th and Vettel in 6th, looking very strong. Kubica was just behind them, looking to unlap himself, waiting for a perfect opportunity.
Look how close Vettel is then to Hamilton now.
Yeah, he's closing right in on him. Half a second the lap that last time through, but Hamilton has responded. I don't think he really wants to get into a battle with Vettel in the closing stage of this Grand Prix.
All he wants is a really boring run to the end of the Grand Prix. Is the rain going to affect that? That's the last thing they all need.
There was more rain on its way, and everyone had to pit once again to put on intermediate tyres with 5 laps to go. However, some drivers stayed out on dry tyres in the hope of making it to the end. Timo Glock was one of those drivers.
That Massa's ahead of him on the racetrack. That's the advantage, so he doesn't have to make the first call. It's Ferrari that will make the first call, and they do it with Raikkonen, not with Massa. Interesting. What is Hamilton going to do? Is he just going to cover Massa? No, he's coming in.
He's got to come in. There's no point taking the risk, especially now that the two in front of him have done that.
So does Vettel, critically.
What is Glock and co going to do? If they manage to get to the end, then without losing any pace, now Hamilton needs it to rain hard.
This is amazing. The final stages of this World Championship. Just 5 laps to go, and nerves are jangling. Massa a lap later than Hamilton. You can see the flash bulbs going off. It's going dark here at Interlagos.
But it's got to rain hard now for these guys. Otherwise, for Hamilton, it's got to rain hard. Otherwise, Glock and Trulli and co are going to be on.
After this final round of pit stops for wet tyres, Hamilton was in 5th and Vettel was in 6th, and Vettel was looking very fast behind them.
Raining heavily enough yet.
If it doesn't rain, Hamilton's not going to get the World Championship. Well, Hamilton's still 5th. He's got Vettel behind him, 1.2. Actually, Glock has passed him, and he's 8.5 seconds behind Glock. Critically then, Hamilton's got to keep Vettel behind him now.
However, at the penultimate corner, Robert Kubica came down the inside of Vettel and Hamilton to unlap himself. However, as he did so, Hamilton went wide and Vettel went down the inside and took 5th position from Hamilton, leaving Hamilton in 6th, and with Felipe Massa on course to win the race, this was not enough.
In what has been a truly dramatic World Championship.
Hamilton's got a bunch of traffic ahead of him. Kubica has unlapped himself.
He's a lap down, he's unlapping himself. He would argue he's entitled to do that. Hamilton lets him through. So he's got grip, but Hamilton's lost it. Oh my goodness me! Vettel's taken the place, and that could cost Hamilton the World Championship.
Oh, it's
now raining hard, and that means Glock is going to be in trouble. He's in 4th place, and with just 2 laps to go, the question now is, can Timo Glock in the Toyota keep it on the island? And the championship is slipping away from Lewis Hamilton.
This happened with just 2 laps to go. Ferrari were jubilant, McLaren were despairing. But the rain was getting heavier, and those in front on dry tyres were about to struggle. Massa crossed the line to win the Grand Prix, with Hamilton halfway back around the track, still in 6th place. There was half a lap to go. Massa had just won the Grand Prix, and he was still out of position. It looked like he was going to lose the title at Brazil for the 2nd year in a row. But what did I say about the rain? Timo Glock was struggling on dry tyres ahead, and at the last corner of the last lap of the last race of the season, Hamilton overtook Timo Glock to take 5th place, which was all he needed to win the 2008 championship, and it led to one of the most iconic moments in Formula 1 history.
Side of Vettel, only a few corners to go now, and desperation starts to creep in for Lewis Hamilton.
Raikkonen's third, and is that Glock? Is that Glock going slowly?
It is,
That's
it's Glock! Oh my goodness me! Hamilton's back in position again! 100,000 local hearts sink in the grandstands. It's handed the place back to Hamilton. He comes through, and if I'm absolutely right, I'm sure that he is going to claim 5th place, which is all he needs to do to become the 2008 Formula One World Champion, Lewis Hamilton. And you will... Well, the Ferrari boys are celebrating, but
they both think
they've won it, but Ferrari are wrong. They're absolutely wrong.
Hamilton's
finished.
Ferrari celebrated prematurely, and Lewis Hamilton won his first championship by 1 point.
Dramatic conclusion to any motor race, let alone a Grand Prix than that. And the result of it all is that Lewis Hamilton is the world champion.
Unbelievable.
Guys, I'm speechless. That was so freaking close. But you guys did a fantastic job all season, and you deserve this. So this is for you and to my family. Thank you for all supporting me and believing in me. You're the best.
What I can only say is a very good job. Well done, son. Very, very proud of you.
I'm so proud of you anyway. I would have been even more with the championship, but anyway, thank you.
Hats off to Felipe Massa. That is sporting dignity. He deserved it just as much as Hamilton did.
It was a massive reversal in fortune in a roller coaster race. A race that will go down in history, and for sure one of the best races I've ever witnessed.
Can you describe your emotions right now? Put them into words?
I don't think I can. I'm very emotional, I would say. And, I've cried. My heart's feeling so much strain right now because I think it was the same for everyone. But I'm just very proud of the team and my family as well.
So there you go, the 3 best Grand Prix I've ever seen, all unique in their own way. But in my opinion, nothing will compare to Brazil 2008. It was a championship decider. The other 2 were good, but not quite as good as that race. So all 3 of those races tell some great stories. I think we could be in some more great races this year and post 2022. Let me know in the comments what you think on those races and what other races I could have put in there. So until next time, you've been watching Mr. Formula One. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.